My fiancée lied to me about her past and mocked my family, so I ended the engagement publicly, and she will never forget that night. I'm a 28-year-old guy, and until recently, I thought I was going to marry the love of my life. Her name was Natalie. She had that kind of beauty that didn't feel real at first, not just in how she looked, but how she moved through a room like she belonged in every space she entered. Confident, witty, ambitious, but also down to earth, or at least that's what I thought. We met through a mutual friend at a birthday dinner, and I swear it was like the world got quieter the moment she smiled at me. Within weeks, we were texting nonstop. Within months, we were planning weekends together, meeting each other's families, talking about our future like it was already written. What really got me, was how she made me feel seen. I'm not some flashy guy. I grew up in a working-class home where my dad fixed cars for a living, and my mom worked nights cleaning offices. We didn't have much, but we had loyalty, warmth, and dinner around the same scratched-up kitchen table every night. When I brought Natalie over the first time, I watched her hug my mom like they'd known each other for years. She asked my dad about his vintage truck and actually seemed interested. I remember thinking, she's the one. No games, no pretense. Just love. I fell hard and fast. She'd say things like, "I love how simple and real your life is," or "Your family is the kind I always wished I had." I used to smile at her from across the room while my dad told one of his long, corny jokes, and she'd laugh along like she belonged. For a while, I truly believed I'd hit the jackpot, the kind of woman who loved me and loved where I came from. But some people wear masks so well, you don't realize they're slipping until it's already too late. She used to say she loved how simple and cozy my parents' house was. Natalie would come over and immediately throw her arms around my mom, compliment whatever was on the stove. "Oh my God, this smells amazing, Mrs. J." And then wink at me like she was totally in her element. She'd sit beside my dad while he rambled about carburetors and truck engines, laughing and calling him old school but charming. My parents adored her. My mom would talk about how kind and classy she was, and my dad said, "You found a real one, son." And I believed them. But over time, little cracks started to show. It started with the drives. My folks live about 45 minutes outside the city, in a modest, tree-lined suburb where the houses all look a little weathered but lived in. She'd sigh loudly every time we made the trip, saying things like, "Why do they live so far away from everything?" Or, if they just moved closer to town, we could visit more. At first, I thought it was fair. Traffic was annoying. But then came the comments about their furniture. "That couch is older than we are," she whispered once. She laughed when she found a rooster-themed salt shaker on the table. "God, your mom loves her little country knickknacks, huh?" I told myself she didn't mean it cruelly, that it was just Natalie being funny or city-bred. I even explained it to my mom one day when I caught her folding napkins a little more carefully than usual before Natalie arrived. "She loves it here," I said. "She just doesn't know how to show it." But even as I said the words, part of me wondered who I was trying to convince, her, my family, or myself. Still, I kept defending her. Because when you love someone, you assume the best, until they make it impossible not to see the worst. Natalie always painted her past like it was straight out of a Hallmark movie. She told me she'd only had one real relationship before me, a high school boyfriend she dated for 3 years, and it ended when he moved away for college. "I was never into the party scene," she'd say, tucking her legs under her on the couch. While everyone else was blacking out and hooking up, I was home binge-watching Grey's Anatomy and painting my nails. It matched her whole vibe, classy, composed, emotionally mature. I liked that about her. I wasn't some party animal myself, so it made me feel like we were on the same page. Then one day, I ran into an old classmate of hers at a mutual friend's baby shower. We were just chatting about college memories when he said, "Wait, Natalie? Bro, she used to own the party circuit back in the day. Her Halloween parties were legendary." I kind of laughed, thinking maybe he'd confused her with someone else. He shook his head. "Nope, same Natalie, blonde, killer smile. Always showed up in some crazy costume with her girls. Everyone knew her. That night I brought it up gently. I wasn't accusing her of anything, just curious. I said something like, 'Hey, ran into someone who remembered you from college.' They said you used to throw epic parties?" Her entire body tensed. "So what, you think I'm some kind of liar now?" She snapped. "Is that what this is? You don't trust me?" I was taken aback by how sharp she got. I tried to explain that it wasn't a big deal. I just thought it was funny that she'd never mentioned that part of her life. But she kept going, accusing me of digging through her past and trying to make her look bad. Eventually, I apologized. Told her I didn't mean anything by it, that I trusted her. But something in me felt off. That night, I couldn't shake the feeling that I'd just touched a nerve that wasn't supposed to be touched. I wasn't trying to eavesdrop. I was just walking past the bedroom to grab my charger when I heard her laugh, a sharp, high-pitched cackle I hadn't heard before. Natalie was on a video call with one of her old friends, propped up on the bed, glass of wine in hand. I paused just outside the door when I heard my name. Yeah, his family is like, sweet, I guess, she said, twirling her hair around her finger. But everything about them is so basic. Like, his dad still wears those cargo jeans and talks like he's stuck in the 90s. Her friend laughed. Natalie continued, mimicking my mom's voice with an exaggerated twang. Y'all come back now, here? They both burst out laughing. I stood there frozen. My hands actually went cold. She'd always acted like she adored my parents, said their old-school values were refreshing, said their house felt like a warm hug. Now here she was, mocking them like some mean girl at a sleepover. It wasn't just the words. It was her tone, that sneering superiority in her voice. She sounded like someone I didn't recognize, like someone who'd been wearing a costume this whole time. Later that night, I brought it up, calmly. Hey, I overheard a bit of your call earlier. Were you really making fun of my parents? She blinked, then laughed like it was the most ridiculous thing in the world. Oh my God, that? Babe, it was just girl talk. You're being way too sensitive. She kissed my cheek like that would erase what she said. You know I love your family. Don't be dramatic. But I couldn't laugh it off. Something shifted in me that night. Like I'd been looking at her through a lens that suddenly cracked, and now I was seeing jagged edges I couldn't unsee. I started wondering, who was the real Natalie? Despite everything I'd overheard, the mocking, the fake compliments, the lies about her past, I still clung to the version of Natalie I wanted to believe in. I told myself maybe she just needed time. Maybe she didn't mean to sound cruel, so I doubled down on trying to connect her with my family. I invited her to more Sunday dinners, asked her to help my mom in the kitchen, even took her to my cousin Becca's wedding, hoping the joy and closeness would rub off on her, but it was like she carried a wall around her, invisible but impenetrable. At the wedding, while everyone else danced and laughed and swapped stories over punch, Natalie sat glued to her phone, barely looking up. When my aunt complimented her dress, she smiled tightly and said, Thanks, I wasn't sure it'd work with this kind of lighting. Later, during speeches, my uncle got choked up talking about family values, and she leaned over and whispered, These people love a sob story, huh? I laughed weakly, but it felt like I'd swallowed a brick. My mom still smiled at her, but her hugs got shorter. My dad stopped trying to engage her in conversation and instead focused on me. My little cousins, the ones who used to run up to her with drawings or dance moves, started keeping their distance. No one said anything, but the room felt different when she was in it. Like everyone was holding their breath, I was stuck between the woman I wanted to marry and the family that had shaped every good part of me. And no matter how hard I tried, it felt like I was asking them to shrink so she could feel bigger. When we got engaged, I thought it might bring us closer. Like planning our future together would be a fresh start, but instead, it was like giving Natalie a stage. She took over everything. I've been dreaming about this since I was 12, she said, flipping through bridal magazines and Pinterest boards like it was her full-time job. At first, I was happy to let her take the lead. I just wanted us to be happy. But the moment I suggested anything that didn't meet her luxury expectations, she'd shut it down without hesitation. I mentioned a beautiful lakeside venue just outside town, affordable, scenic, and meaningful. She scrunched up her nose and said, Babe, that place looks like a summer camp. We're not doing a budget wedding. When I brought up including my extended family, aunts, uncles, cousins who helped raise me, she sighed and said, We don't need all those extras. Let's keep it classy and intimate. And when my mom, eyes glowing, offered to hand-stitch traditional keepsakes for the bridal party, Natalie didn't even try to be polite. She laughed and said, That's sweet, but no offense. We're not doing any of that ethnic stuff, babe. Ethnic stuff. That's what she called my culture. My history. My mother's love, passed through thread and time. I looked at her, expecting even a flicker of guilt or self-awareness, but there was none. Just the smug certainty of someone who didn't feel the need to hide anymore. The Natalie who once praised my family's warmth was gone, or maybe she never existed at all, and for the first time, I realized the wedding wasn't about us. It was about her, and how she wanted to be seen. And if I didn't play along, I was going to be the one who looked out of place at my own damn wedding. It happened at a small dinner party we hosted. Nothing fancy. Just some close friends, my brother and his girlfriend, Tessa. The night was going well, or at least I thought it was. Natalie was playing hostess, pouring wine and smiling like nothing in the world could shake her. Tessa pulled me aside in the hallway when I went to grab more napkins. She looked uncomfortable, almost like she regretted speaking, but then said softly, "I wasn't going to say anything, but I heard Natalie on a call with her friend last week." I frowned. "Okay?" "She called your family trashy." Those words hit harder than I was ready for. I actually laughed at first, out of disbelief. "Trashy?" I repeated. Tessa nodded slowly. She said it like a joke, but it didn't sound like one. She was mocking your mom's clothes, your dad's truck, even the way your cousins talked at the engagement party. I thought you should know. I felt like I was going to be sick. My chest burned. I thanked her and went back out, acting normal, but inside everything was unraveling. Later that night, after everyone left, I brought it up to Natalie gently. I didn't accuse, I just asked. Told her someone overheard her making hurtful comments about my family, and I needed to understand what was going on. Her eyes widened, and without skipping a beat, she pulled me onto the couch, straddled my lap, kissed me softly, and whispered, "Baby." I would never say something like that. She ran her fingers through my hair, voice dripping with sugar. "You know people get jealous of us. They twist things." I started to argue again, but she kissed me harder. Then came the tears. "I'm just so stressed with wedding stuff. I feel like I'm doing everything alone." And just like that, I caved, but deep down, something had snapped, because love doesn't need to seduce its way out of the truth. I wasn't snooping. All I wanted was to pull up a song playlist Natalie had been curating for the wedding. We were supposed to finalize the reception music that weekend, and her laptop was sitting open on the kitchen island while she showered. I clicked open her browser, expecting to find a Spotify tab. Instead, I found her logged into an Instagram account I didn't recognize. The handle wasn't her name. It was something vague and aesthetic, like one of those spam accounts you scroll past. But when I clicked into it, I realized it was hers, a private, locked Finsta with maybe 24 followers. And what I saw made my stomach cave in on itself. Screenshots of my family group chat, my mom's heartfelt messages, my cousin's corny emojis, and with captions like, "Every time I open this, I lose brain cells." A selfie she'd taken in my dad's garage, with oil cans and tools in the background, captioned, "Ghetto vibes. Send help." A DM thread where she joked with a friend about downgrading for love, saying, "I feel like I'm doing missionary work dating this guy, LOL." My hands started shaking so badly I had to grip the edge of the counter to steady myself. I could barely breathe. Every kind word, every fake laugh, every soft kiss from the past 2 years started playing in reverse, but now with a sinister filter over it. This wasn't just snobbery. This wasn't even just cruelty. This was calculated, and the worst part? She was still in the shower, humming, carefree, in the same house where I once believed we were building a life together. I took screenshots of everything. Every post, every message, but I didn't confront her. Not yet. Because what I'd just seen wasn't the end. It was the beginning of something else. After I found her secret account, everything changed, not outwardly, but inside me. I didn't blow up. I didn't confront her, I just started watching. Suddenly, things I used to brush off took on a darker clarity. Like the way she treated servers at restaurants, snapping her fingers, barely making eye contact, talking to them like they were beneath her. Or how her voice would shift whenever she spoke to someone she thought was low effort, all high-pitched politeness and forced smiles, like she was performing kindness she didn't actually feel. I started replaying old moments in my head, realizing how often she'd joke about my job in front of her friends, making little digs like, "He's the only guy I know who still uses coupons. But hey, at least he's consistent." And they'd all laugh while I smiled through gritted teeth. Then came the physical cues. She'd flinch, literally flinch, when my mom went in for a hug, like affection from someone unsophisticated might stain her. She'd roll her eyes whenever I told childhood stories about growing up on my grandpa's farm or working summers with my dad in the garage. "You love that rags to riches stuff, don't you?" She'd tease, sipping wine like she was above it all, and I realized this wasn't about status. It wasn't about money. It was about character. Natalie didn't just have high standards. She had a superiority complex so deep it seeped into everything she touched. And what once looked like elegance now looked like rot. The woman I was supposed to marry wasn't just judgmental, she was mean. Quietly, covertly, casually cruel. And the scariest part? She was still fooling everyone else. My dad's 60th birthday was supposed to be special. We rented out the community hall near the house I grew up in. Nothing fancy, but filled with people who mattered. Family. Neighbors, old friends from his mechanic shop, even his high school buddy who drove in from 2 states over. My mom cooked half the food herself, and my cousins helped set up string lights and framed photos of Dad from every era. Baby, soldier, husband, father. The room felt like home. Natalie showed up in a fitted designer dress and a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Right away, she wrinkled her nose at the food. "Babe, are those actual meatballs in a crock pot? Are we in 1987? She whispered, not quite quiet enough. Then she declined to dance, even when my little cousins tried to pull her in during the line dances. "Not really my vibe," she said, sipping wine like she couldn't wait to leave. But the moment that destroyed everything came during the toasts. She stood up, glass in hand, and said, "Let's all raise a glass to the man who taught my fiancé everything he knows, including how to turn a wrench and wear the same flannel for 20 years. A few chuckles rippled through the room. She smiled wider. "Seriously, though, I love how grounded this family is. You can really see how far he has come from his roots." That line hit like a slap. There was silence. Then awkward laughter. My mom stared down at her plate. My dad gave me a look, not angry, not hurt, just disappointed. That kind of quiet sadness that breaks something inside you. Later that night, after we dropped her off and I got home, I stood in the shower fully clothed and cried like I hadn't cried in years. I felt humiliated, ashamed. Not just because of what she said, but because I let her in. It was the first time I truly asked myself,
do I still want to marry this woman?
It all came to a head a week later, over something as simple as the guest list. We were sitting at the kitchen table scrolling through spreadsheets and names when I said I wanted to invite a few more of my cousins. "They helped raise me," I explained. "They're not just guests, they're family." Natalie slammed her laptop shut. "I'm done," she snapped. "I'm done trying to make this wedding look like something it's not. You keep letting your hillbilly family control everything, and I'm supposed to smile and nod like this is normal?" The room went dead quiet. She stood up, pacing now. "You want to pack this wedding full of people who wear jeans to funerals and eat off paper plates like it's fine dining? Be my guest? But I'm too good for that kind of life." I felt like the air had been sucked out of the room. "Hillbilly?" I whispered, stunned. "Yes," she snapped. "Look, I tried. I really tried to accept it. But I'm not going to spend the rest of my life stuck in some Norman Rockwell painting with potato salad and bad grammar. You don't see it because you grew up in it, but it's embarrassing." I just stood there, frozen. My mouth opened, but nothing came out. She stared at me, waiting for a fight, waiting for me to grovel, but I didn't say a word. Because in that moment, something snapped, not in anger, but in clarity. She didn't love me, she loved the idea of me. The potential. The version she could sculpt and polish and parade around, and everything I actually was. My family. My roots, my history. She saw as something to be erased. That night, for the first time, I didn't feel heartbroken. I felt awake. I didn't yell. I didn't argue. I didn't even flinch. After everything she said, I just nodded slowly and told her, "You're right. From now on, I'll let you take the lead." Her entire mood shifted. She smiled like she'd won some invisible war and kissed me on the cheek, saying, "See? We just needed to get on the same page." She had no idea the page had already turned. A few days later, I told her she could plan the engagement dinner however she wanted. Venue, menu, guest count. She was thrilled, already envisioning some wine and cheese affair filled with her college friends and polished coworkers. "Keep it upscale, keep it tight," she said. "No offense, but we don't need a stampede of denim and casseroles." I just nodded. Behind her back, I reached out to the venue and changed the guest list completely. I invited everyone she didn't want. Every cousin, every uncle, every friend she thought was beneath her. People who knew me, loved me, and had been mocked in her DMs, the ones who wore cowboy boots without irony and hugged too. Tight and danced offbeat, but meant every word they ever said. Then I asked the venue coordinator if I could play a short video montage during the dinner. "Just a little tribute," I said. "For everyone who helped shape me," they agreed. "Even helped me set it up so the screen would drop from the ceiling right before dessert." Natalie had no idea. She thought she was walking into a party in her honor, a celebration of her style, her taste, her control. What she didn't know was this wasn't going to be a tribute. It was going to be the truth, played for everyone to see. The venue was everything Natalie had dreamed of. High ceilings, chandeliers that sparkled like crushed diamonds, white-gloved staff passing hors d'oeuvres on silver trays. She stepped into the room like it was her runway, wearing a backless ivory dress and a smile that screamed, "Look what I've built." Her friends gathered around her, clinking champagne glasses and snapping selfies against the floral backdrop she'd designed. She posed like a queen at her coronation, floating from table to table with perfectly curated grace. Every detail had her fingerprints on it, the color scheme, the music, even the scent of the candles. She had full control, or so she thought. I played my part perfectly, smiling, greeting guests, thanking people for coming. My mom wore a soft pink dress she hadn't worn in years, and my dad looked sharp in his old navy blazer. My cousins and uncles trickled in, dressed not in tuxedos but in love and loyalty. I saw a few of Natalie's friends give them quick glances, the kind that said, "Who invited them?" I took the mic after dinner just before dessert was wheeled out. "Thank you all for being here," I began, voice steady. "Tonight isn't just about celebrating an engagement. It's about honoring where we come from and who we are when no one's watching." Natalie stood beside me, beaming. She reached for my hand, but I kept it at my side. "I've been thinking a lot about love, truth, and loyalty," I continued. "And before we toast, I want to share something I put together. Just a little tribute to the people who made me who I am." I nodded to the tech guy in the back. The lights dimmed. The screen dropped. Natalie's smile didn't waver. Not yet, but it was about to. The screen flickered to life, and the room hushed. At first, it was everything Natalie expected. Soft piano music. Faded photos of me as a toddler with cake on my face. Clips of my dad teaching me how to change a tire. My mom dancing with me in the kitchen on Saturday mornings. Laughter bubbled up from the crowd. My cousins whooped at an old video of me at a school talent show. Natalie clutched my arm and whispered, "This is adorable." Then, the music cut. The screen faded to black, and suddenly, there it was. A screenshot of her secret Finsta, bold and undeniable. Her handle, her profile picture, then a photo of my dad's garage, oily and real, with her caption underneath, "Ghetto vibes." "Can't believe I'm marrying into this." The room went silent. Then came the messages, one after another. "I feel like I'm doing missionary work dating this guy, LOL. His mom gives me secondhand embarrassment every time she talks. Trap the guy. Suffer the family." Gasps. Audible. Murmurs rising like static. I heard my mom's chair scrape gently against the floor. She stood, straightened her dress, and quietly walked out of the room. My dad's jaw was clenched so tight I could see the muscles in his temple pulsing. Natalie was frozen, wide-eyed, lips parted in shock. Then came the panic. "Turn it off! Turn it off!" she shrieked, storming toward the tech booth. "That's private. This is illegal! You can't show this." But the damage was done. I stepped forward, calm, steady, and took the mic. "For those who don't know," I said evenly, "this was the woman I was going to marry. But I think tonight makes one thing clear. This wedding is off." I turned to her. "You may leave now." And I swear, the silence that followed was louder than any applause I've ever heard. The silence didn't last long. Natalie's voice cracked through it, loud and desperate. "It was a joke. Oh my God, you guys, seriously, it was all a prank. You really think I meant any of that?" She laughed, high-pitched and hollow, spinning toward her circle of friends like they'd jump in to defend her. But they didn't. One of them gave her a tight, awkward smile before taking a step back. Another pretended to check her phone. The whispers started, quiet but sharp. "Did you see what she wrote? Who even does that? That poor guy's mom." Across the room, her parents looked shell-shocked. Her mom stared down at her drink, face flushed. Her father looked like he wanted to disappear into the floor. No one moved to defend her. I turned to the crowd and said, "Thank you all for coming. I'm sorry the night ended this way, but I'm not sorry the truth came out." Then I walked toward the exit. My family followed, my mom linking her arm through mine, my dad behind us, protective and proud. Cousins, uncles, friends, all of them. We left as a unit. Behind us, I heard heels clattering. "Wait! Wait!" Natalie was chasing after me, sobbing now. "Please, we can talk about this." "I didn't mean any of it. You can't just walk away from everything we've built." I stopped just outside the doors. Turned around slowly. She was a mess. Mascara streaking, hair clinging to her face, trembling. I looked her straight in the eyes and said, calmly and clearly, "You mocked the people who made me. You don't get to stay in my life." Then I walked away, and this time I didn't look back. It's been a few weeks now. The morning after the engagement dinner imploded, Natalie sent me 100 texts. Voice notes, missed calls, paragraphs that started with "please" and ended with "you misunderstood everything." A few days later, she tried a different tone, light, nostalgic. "Remember that weekend we got snowed in and binge-watched old movies? We were happy then." She even sent a picture of us in bed laughing under a pile of blankets. I read them all. And then I left her on read. Because I realized something. People don't accidentally reveal who they are. They slip up when they think you're too in love to notice. And for a long time I was. But I'm done mourning someone who never really saw me. Since then, I've been rebuilding, reconnecting. My mom's laughter is back. That real kind. From the belly. She doesn't tiptoe around me anymore, doesn't ask how Natalie's doing with that cautious edge in her voice. My dad hugs me longer now. No words, just a solid grip that says, "I've got you, son." I go back home more often. Eat leftovers straight from the pot. Laugh until my sides hurt with my cousins. Help my dad in the garage and let my mom fuss over whether I've been eating enough. And somewhere in all that, I found something I'd been missing. Me. I used to think love was about sacrifice. About giving and compromising and bending to make someone else happy. But I get it now. Love is also about respect. About being seen, being valued, feeling safe to be exactly who you are without apology. Losing Natalie wasn't the heartbreak. Loving someone who hated where I came from, that was.